Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're literally unlocking Charles Duhigg's playbook to reveal the hidden mechanics behind becoming a true supercommunicator. If you've ever felt like you're talking, but your words are just bouncing off a brick wall, well, you're in the right place. We're going to break down the actual science of building real, lasting connections. Think about your last big argument for a second. Seriously, picture it. We've got this brilliant quote here. The single biggest problem with communication is the illusion it has taken place. It's a real wake-up call, isn't it? Because that jarring reality means that most of the time, we just think we're communicating. We say our piece, we wait for the other person to stop talking so we can go again, and we just assume they completely absorb what we meant. But true communication? It requires confirming that your message actually landed. Okay, let's jump right into this toolkit. We've got a complete path laid out for you today. We're covering the 3 conversation types, the matching principle, asking deep questions, navigating difficult conflicts, and finally, identity and safe spaces. All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the 3 conversation types. This is where we decode the fundamental DNA of human dialogue. According to the research, every single conversation you'll ever have basically falls into one of 3 buckets. The first one is the "what's this really about" conversation. This is the highly practical stuff. It's entirely focused on decision-making. Think about a tense team meeting where you're trying to figure out the logistics of a delayed project, or, just coordinating who's picking up the kids from school. It's analytical, it's about evaluating choices, and it's totally goal-oriented. Then we shift into the second type, the "how do we feel" conversation. Now here, you're not trying to solve a puzzle or fix a broken schedule. This one is all about emotions, beliefs, and values. It's where vulnerability lives. You're sharing and exploring internal emotional states instead of trying to fix an external problem. And finally, the third type zooms out to the big picture with the "who are we" conversation. These discussions are all about our social identities. They explore our relationships, our cultural backgrounds, and exactly how we fit into the groups around us. It's about shared experiences and a sense of belonging, which ultimately dictates how much trust we put in the person across from us. Now here is why you absolutely need to know this. It's basically a math equation. Misalignment equals miscommunication. Imagine your partner is coming to you with a purely emotional conversation, they just need to vent, and you jump right in offering practical logistical solutions. You're instantly creating a massive disconnect. You might honestly think you're being helpful, but to them, you just seem totally dismissive. So, how do we fix that disconnect? That brings us to Section 2, the matching principle. This is a total game changer. This is a sequence you can literally start using today to get aligned. First up, become a bit of a detective of their energy. Are they talking fast and loud, or kind of slow and quiet? Second, really listen to the specific words they're using to figure out if they're in an analytical headspace or an emotional one. Third, adjust your own communication style to match theirs. Now, you're not just parroting them, you're meeting them where they are emotionally. And fourth, stay on your toes, because conversations are always evolving, and you've got to be ready to shift with them. All right, once we're on the same wavelength, we can go even deeper. That brings us to Section 3, asking truly deep questions. So what exactly makes a question, deep? I mean, how do we get past the usual small talk and actually build genuine trust? Well, a deep question invites someone to share their internal beliefs, their struggles, or their dreams. It sends a clear signal that you don't just care about the weather, you care about understanding them as a complex human being. So, instead of the standard, "Hey, how was your day?" try throwing something like this out there. How has that recent challenge shaped your worldview? When you ask something like that, you're showing genuine interest in their internal life. It encourages them to self-reflect, and more importantly, it invites reciprocal self-disclosure. You open the door and suddenly it's a balanced exchange where both of you can safely drop your guard. If you want proof that this actually works, look at the famous Fast Friends procedure. Psychologists figured out that by using exactly 36 specifically designed questions, they could trigger incredible intimacy between total strangers. By systematically guiding people step by step into vulnerability, it sparks what experts call emotional contagion. It's this rapid, deep bonding process that literally rewires how connected we feel to someone.
But hey, a quick heads up. Gathering all this deep info means you have to listen beyond just the words. You got to pay attention to the nonverbal cues, facial expressions, eye contact, an open or closed body posture, even a slight shift in the pitch of their voice. A lot of times, these physical cues will tell you way more than the words themselves, giving you massive amounts of real-time feedback on how your questions are actually landing.
Now we reach what I like to call the boss battle of human interaction. Section 4, navigating difficult conflicts. Deep questions are amazing when you're making friends, but what happens when things get heated?
Well, a true supercommunicator completely flips the script on conflict. The traditional approach, it's highly adversarial. We just want to win the argument and prove that we're right. But the supercommunicator approach focuses on emotional synchronization. You realize that the only way to actually navigate friction is by identifying common goals and acknowledging the raw emotions underneath all the disagreement.
To actually hit that synchronization in the middle of a fight, you've got to use a technique called looping for understanding. It's almost like a superpower. Basically, you summarize what the other person just said, and then you ask them to confirm it. Something like, so what I'm hearing is that you feel totally overwhelmed by this timeline, is that right? By doing this, you prove you're actually listening, you catch any misunderstandings right away, and you instantly take the temperature down in the room.
Finally, to keep these connections strong for the long haul, we arrive at Section 5, Identity in Safe Spaces.
Look, we don't communicate in a vacuum. Our social identities, our race, our gender, our cultural background, they drastically shape how we interpret messages. So if you want to build a genuinely safe, inclusive space, you have to acknowledge those identities, not just pretend they aren't there. It means ditching the assumptions, setting firm ground rules for mutual respect, and practicing a ton of cultural humility, so that absolutely everyone feels heard without fear of judgment.
And I'll be honest, when you're navigating these complex identity conversations, you're going to hit some friction. When you do, just remind yourself, discomfort is a completely natural part of growth. If you're feeling a little uncomfortable, it doesn't mean the conversation is failing. Actually, it means you're learning, you're stretching your empathy, and you're finally truly connecting.
So, armed with this whole playbook, knowing the 3 conversation types, matching your partner's style, looping for understanding, and respecting identity, I want to leave you with one final thought. When you step away from this explainer today and into your very next interaction, are you just going to talk or are you going to genuinely connect?